Peppa Pig. Peppa's Post. One day, Mr. Zebra the postman delivered a very important letter to Peppa and George's house. "Look, George," cried Peppa, running to the front door. "It's for us," grunted George excitedly. "I wonder what's inside." "It's your tickets for Mr. Potato's marvellous theatre show," said Mummy Pig, helping Peppa open the envelope. "Oh, goody," gasped Peppa. "I love the theatre and I love Mr. Potato." That afternoon, Mammy and Daddy Pig drove Peppa and George to the Grand Theatre to meet Madame Gazelle and their friends. When they arrived, the show was about to start. "Please welcome," said a loud voice, "your friend and mine, Mr. Potato." "Oh, wow!" the children gasped all the way through the show. After it finished, they gave Mr. Potato a huge round of applause. And Madame Gazelle gave everyone a special envelope to take home. Daddy Pig helped Peppa and George read their letter from Madame Gazelle. The next morning, they followed the map to playgroup. "Welcome, little ones," Madame Gazelle beamed after the mummies and daddies had left. "Today we will be putting on a pantomime, and there will be a special guest coming." "Ooh!" everyone gasped. "Now, children," continued Madame Gazelle, "we have lots to do. First, we must make the posters and invitations for the pantomime." When they'd finished, everyone gave their invitations to Mr. Zebra. He raced off to deliver them. The first one was for Mummy and Daddy Pig. Mr. Zebra handed Mummy and Daddy Pig their invitation to the pantomime. "How lovely," said Mummy Pig when she opened the envelope. "Of course we can come." Mummy and Daddy Pig gave their reply to Mr. Zebra, and he raced off to deliver the other invitations. Later that morning, the playgroup doorbell rang. Ding dong! It was Mr. Zebra with an enormous parcel for all the children. "It's a dressing-up box," whispered Peppa to Susie. "A very big one." "Your costumes are here, my little stars," announced Madame Gazelle. The dressing-up box was full of wonderful costumes. Peppa and her friends picked their outfits and got ready. "Now you must practice your lines," said Madame Gazelle. "Peppa, you can start." "I'm Little Red Riding Hood," began Peppa. "I'm going to visit my grandma." Danny Dog was dressed as a big bad wolf. "I'm going to eat Little Red Riding Hood," he barked. "Wonderful acting, Peppa and Danny," said Madame Gazelle. The children were still practicing when the doorbell rang again. Ding dong! "It is Mr. Zebra with more post," announced Madame Gazelle. The children opened the parcel and found replies to their invitations. "Fabulous news!" exclaimed Madame Gazelle. "Everyone can come to our pantomime, even our mystery guest." "Who is the mystery guest, Madame Gazelle?" asked Peppa. "Is it the Queen?" "You will have to wait and see," replied Madame Gazelle. "Oh," sighed Peppa, a little disappointed. It was almost time for the pantomime to start. Everyone was arriving. Peppa peered around the curtain. She could see the mummies and daddies, but she couldn't see a mystery guest. "Please find your programs and take your seats," said Madame Gazelle. "Our pantomime is about to begin." "Ladies and gentlemen," said Madame Gazelle, "welcome to our pantomime." The children leapt onto the stage, and everyone stood up to take photos. Click, click, flash, flash. "Please," said Madame Gazelle, "for the sake of the actors, no photography." The parents quietly sat back down in their chairs, and the show began. "I'm Little Red Riding Hood," began Peppa. "I'm visiting my grandma." "I'm the Big Bad Wolf," said Danny. "I'm pretending to be Grandma, then I'm going to eat everyone." "I'm the hunter," said Pedro. "I'm chasing the Big Bad Wolf away." "Oh, wow!" the parents gasped all the way through the performance. When the pantomime finished, the children bowed. Everyone gave them a huge round of applause, except for Mr. Zebra, who was so tired from delivering all the letters that he had fallen fast asleep. "Where's the mystery guest?" Peppa whispered to Susie. Just then the clapping stopped, and a loud voice said, "Please welcome our special guest, your friend and mine, Mr. Potato." "Mr. Potato is more famous than the Queen," whispered Peppa excitedly. "What a marvellous performance!" said Mr. Potato, leaping up from his hiding place next to the stage. "This pantomime was the best I have ever seen." "Hooray!" cheered the children. They loved their pantomime, but they loved meeting Mr. Potato even more. The end. Peppa's Christmas Post. It was nearly Christmas Eve, and Peppa and George were feeling very Christmassy. "Let's post our letters to Santa," said Peppa. "Yippee!" cheered George. Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig put on their boots and headed out into the snow to the post box. On the way home from the post box, Daddy Pig did his Christmas dance. "Oh, it's a bit slippery," he cried, falling on his bottom with a bump. "Oh, Daddy Pig," said Mummy, holding out her hand to help him up, but then she slipped over too. Mummy and Daddy Pig were covered in snow. Dr. Brown Bear came to see if they were okay. "You're going to be fine," he said, "but you both had a bit of a bump, so you must rest until Christmas Day." "Oh no," sighed Daddy Pig. Everybody went to stay at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house so Mummy and Daddy could stay in bed. "I know how we can cheer up Mummy and Daddy," Peppa whispered to George. "Let's get everything ready for Christmas ourselves." So with a little help from Granny and Grandpa Pig, Peppa and George started making Christmas cards and advent calendars for everyone they knew. After Peppa and George posted everything they had made, it was time to make the Christmas pudding. "Mummy and Daddy will love this," said Peppa, stirring the sticky mixture. "That looks perfect, little ones," said Granny Pig. "Let's steam it, and then I have something to show you." Granny Pig found an envelope in a drawer and passed it to Peppa and George. "Take a look inside," she said. "Ooh," said Peppa. "Thank you, Granny." Inside the envelope was a little book of festive treats. Peppa and George made all of the recipes inside it, and a lot of mess. Something smells delicious, said Grandpa Pig, his tummy rumbling.
They're not for now, Grandpa, explained Peppa. They're for Christmas Day.
I see, replied Grandpa Pig. Well then, I can't wait for Christmas Day.
What's in that great big box, Grandpa?
asked Peppa. Christmas decorations, said Grandpa Pig.
Hooray! Let's decorate the Christmas tree,
cheered Peppa. Peppa and George covered the whole house with Grandpa Pig's decorations.
Mommy and Daddy are going to be very surprised when they come downstairs on Christmas Day,
said Peppa. Then she and George sat down with Granny Pig. They wanted to write an extra special letter to Santa. Peppa, George, Granny and Grandpa Pig put on their boots and headed out into the snow to post their special letter.
I hope Santa gets it in time,
said Peppa, lifting George up so he could post the letter. I am sure he will, Peppa, said Grandpa Pig. Come on, let's head back home. That night, at the North Pole, Santa Claus received Peppa and George's special letter. Ho, 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 he laughed. Christmas stickers, how lovely. Then he got out his pen and paper and wrote an extra special reply. The next morning was Christmas Eve, and there was a letter waiting for Peppa and George by the front door.
Someone's written us a letter, George,
said Peppa, jumping up and down.
Santa,
cheered George.
Don't be silly, George, replied Peppa. Santa doesn't write letters. He's too busy making toys.
Dear Peppa and George Pig, thank you so much for your letter and wonderful present. I have put your Christmas stickers all over my grotto. Of course I can deliver presents for your mommy and daddy. Make sure you go to bed nice and early on Christmas Eve, and there will be an extra special surprise for you both on Christmas Day. Love from Santa Claus. At bedtime on Christmas Eve, Peppa and George were soon tucked up in their little bed at Granny and Grandpa's house.
We have to go to sleep early, like Santa said in his letter, whispered Peppa. I wonder what his surprise will be. Santa,
whispered George as he closed his eyes. Soon they were both fast asleep.
Mommy, Daddy,
cheered Peppa and George very early the next morning.
It's Christmas Day!
What? Mumbled Daddy Pig, waking up.
It's Christmas Day!
Repeated Peppa.
Dr. Brown Bear said you can get out of bed now. We have lots of surprises for you.
But there was a surprise waiting for everyone in the living room.
Santa!
cried Peppa and George. Santa! cried Daddy Pig, doing his special Christmas dance very carefully, this time, and managing not to fall over. Surprise, said Santa. I thought I'd pop in and see two little piggies who have been very helpful this Christmas. Hooray! cheered Peppa and George. Santa gave presents to Mummy and Daddy Pig and to Granny and Grandpa Pig. Then he turned to Peppa and George and gave them the doll and the racing car they had asked for. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! He chuckled as he waved goodbye. Now remember to write your thank you letters. I love getting post. That night, Peppa and George were back at home and tucked up in their own beds.
I love getting post too, Santa,
whispered Peppa, looking at his letter on her bedroom wall.
especially from you.
The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's talent show. Peppa and George are going to a talent show. They can't wait. Have you got everything? Asked Mummy Pig.
Nearly,
Says Peppa.
I just need to put on my boots.
George nods. He is bringing his xylophone. The theatre is very busy. Everyone has come to watch the talent show. Daddy Pig opens the door. Listen, I can hear music.
Hurry, Daddy,
Says Peppa.
we don't want to miss the start.
Daddy Pig finds their tickets. Then they all sit down. Miss Rabbit steps out onto the stage. Hello, she says, shaking her tambourine.
Wow.
Are you ready to sing, dance and have some fun? A talent is something you like doing and are good at, says Miss Rabbit. Our first talented performer is Madame Gazelle. Madame Gazelle plays her electric guitar. It is very noisy. Thank you, everyone, she says. It's Pedro Pony's turn next. He is dressed as a magician.
Wow.
I'm going to use magic to make Danny disappear, he says. Please close your eyes. Ooh, say Peppa and her friends, closing their eyes. Pedro quickly puts a blanket over Danny Dog's head. He waves his wand. Now open your eyes, says Pedro. Danny has disappeared. Freddy Fox leaps up. But I can see his feet, he shouts. Everybody gasps. Danny is hiding underneath the blanket. Wasn't that fun? Says Miss Rabbit. Now let's have a big cheer for Mr. Bull, Freddy Fox and Zoe Zebra. Zoe plays the maracas. Mr. Bull blows into a big brass instrument.
What's that?
Gasps Peppa. It's called a tuba, whispers Mummy Pig. Zoe and Mr. Bull play on.
Wow.
Freddy smiles and waves.
What's Freddy's talent?
Asks Peppa. Mummy Pig isn't sure. Freddy lifts up a silver triangle. At the end of the song, he hits it. Everybody claps. Well done, Freddy. Susie Sheep comes on next.
That's my best friend,
Shouts Peppa.
my talent is blowing bubbles.
Says Susie.
Wow.
She dips a stick into some bubble mixture and blows. A big bubble appears. The audience gasps. Thank you, Susie, says Miss Rabbit. And now for someone with a sporty talent.
That's me.
Cries Mandy Mouse. She bounces a basketball up and down the stage. Mandy finishes bouncing and the audience gives her a big clap. Daddy Pig stands up. Follow me, George, he whispers. You're on next. Good luck, says Peppa. Hello again, says Miss Rabbit. It's time to introduce our youngest performer, George.
Hooray!
Peppa and Mummy Pig get ready to cheer.
Oh,
Cries Peppa.
where is he?
Everyone gasps. The stage is empty. George is hiding behind the curtain. He is feeling a little bit shy. Would you like me to go first? Asked Daddy Pig. George nods. Daddy Pig goes on stage. He plays the drums. George loves Daddy Pig's drumming. He comes out with his xylophone. The audience cheers. Hooray! George starts to play along with Daddy Pig. Well done, George, cries Peppa. Daddy Pig finishes his song, but George keeps on playing. Time to come off now, says Daddy Pig, picking him up. Wah! Cries George. The audience claps. Thank you, George and Daddy Pig, says Miss Rabbit. Wendy Wolf is ready for her turn. My talent is howling, she says proudly.
Wow!
Ow! Ooh, say Peppa and her friends. Everybody in the theatre claps loudly. What an unusual talent. It's Grampy Rabbit's turn. His talent is telling jokes.
Wow!
Peppa and George giggle and giggle. You're next, Granny Pig, says Miss Rabbit. Don't forget your special guest. Granny Pig carries a bird onto the stage. Peppa gasps, It's Granny's parrot, Polly. Polly is very clever, says Granny Pig. Say hello, Polly. Oh dear, Polly doesn't want to say hello. She cries. Then she flies across the theatre and out of the door. The audience gasps. Quick, shouts Miss Rabbit. Follow that parrot. Everyone rushes out of the theatre. There's Polly, cries Daddy Pig, next to that big muddy puddle. Granny Pig carefully puts Polly back into her cage, ready to take her home. I think that's the end of the talent show, says Miss Rabbit.
Wow!
But no one's seen my talent yet,
cries Peppa.
Can you show us out here?
asks Miss Rabbit.
Yes,
says Peppa, nodding. Then she jumps into the muddy puddle. Splash!
what a super splashy show,
Cheers Miss Rabbit.
Well done, Peppa.
Hooray!
Peppa loves talent shows. Everyone loves talent shows. The end. Peppa Pig, Pirate Island.
I'm Peppa Pig. This is my little brother George, and this is the story of the day we went to Pirate Island.
Grandpa and Granny Pig took Peppa and her friends for a busy day out on Grandpa's boat. All aboard, said Grandpa Pig. Is everyone wearing their life jackets? Then off we go. George, you can have my pirate hat, said Grandpa Pig. Today we are sailing to Pirate Island, and if we are lucky, we might find buried treasure. Everyone was very excited. The boat landed on a sandy beach. Everyone climbed to the top of the island. Grandpa Pig planted a flag and said, "This is Pirate Island. Now let's look for buried treasure." Grandpa took a strange machine out of his bag. "What's that?" asked Susie Sheep. "It is a metal detector," said Grandpa Pig. "It finds buried treasure." He waved it over the ground and suddenly it started to beep. "Buried treasure!" cried Grandpa. "Let's dig it up." "Here's something," said Danny Dog. "It's a shiny coin. Maybe it's pirate treasure," said Grandpa. Everyone gathered round to look. Grandpa waved the metal detector over a new patch of sand and it beeped again. "This sounds very big," said Grandpa. Everyone dug and Grandpa pulled and pulled at the heavy object until suddenly it came free. "That's not buried treasure," said Grandpa Pig. "It's a rusty old shopping trolley." "Oh dear," laughed Granny Pig. "Maybe that's enough treasure hunting. Who wants to go to the rocky beach?" Everyone wanted to go to the rocky beach. "I'll go and check on the boat," said Grandpa Pig. Granny Pig and the children went off, leaving Grandpa Pig to do important boat things. It was a warm and sunny day on the boat deck. "Ah, this is nice," said Grandpa Pig. "Maybe I'll just close my eyes for a little bit." Granny Pig showed the children the rocky beach. "When the sea goes out, it leaves little pools of water in amongst the rocks, and every rock pool there's something special that the sea has left behind." Peppa looked in a pool. "Ooh, I can see something glittering. It's a shiny coin." "Maybe it's more pirate treasure," said Granny Pig. "And here's a seashell," said Peppa. "If you put a seashell to your ear, you can hear the sound of the sea," said Granny Pig. Peppa listened. "Wow, I can hear the sea." George had found something hiding at the bottom of the pool. "Why, it's a crab," said Granny Pig. "Ouch! The crab has pinched Granny Pig's finger," said Peppa. "Naughty Mr. Crab. Oh, look, Mr. Crab is walking sideways." George was walking sideways too, pretending to be a naughty pinching crab. "Let's all be crabs," said Peppa. Everyone played at being naughty pinching crabs. "Time to go home now," said Granny Pig. They all went back to the sandy beach. "Where's the boat gone?" said Granny Pig. "Look," said Peppa. There was the boat drifting out to sea, with Grandpa Pig fast asleep on the deck. "We have to wake Grandpa Pig up," said Granny Pig. "Shout as loudly as you can." Everybody shouted, but Grandpa Pig didn't wake up. "He's too far away to hear us," said Granny Pig. "We're stuck on Pirate Island forever," said Susie Sheep. "We're castaways. We'll have to eat insects and slugs," said Danny Dog. The boat floated across the sea, with Grandpa Pig sleeping peacefully. It drifted all the way back to the shore, where the parents were waiting to collect the children. "Hello, Grandpa Pig," said the parents. Grandpa Pig woke up with a start. Hello, everyone. I've just left something behind. I'll be back in a tick." And Grandpa Pig turned the boat round and set off for Pirate Island as fast as he could go. "There's Grandpa Pig," cried Peppa. "He's come to rescue us." "Welcome aboard, me hearties," said Grandpa Pig, and everyone got back on the boat. "Naughty Grandpa Pig," said Granny Pig. "We thought you'd left us behind." Sorry about that, said Grandpa Pig. Next time I promise not to fall asleep. So we can visit Pirate Island again, Grandpa? Asked Peppa. Of course we can, Peppa. I love Pirate Island, said Peppa. What an exciting adventure we have all had today, laughed Granny Pig. Goodbye until next time, me hearties. Pedro's Pirate Treasure. Peppa and her friends have dressed up as pirates.
Wow.
Danny Dog is on board his pirate ship. Are you ready to play? He asks. Yes, we are! Everyone cheers in their best pirate voices. Pedro Pony guards the pirate ship, while Danny, Peppa, Susie Sheep and Freddy Fox search for treasure. First, Danny finds a pine cone. Treasure! Woof! He barks. Then Peppa finds a shell. Susie finds some rope. And Freddy finds a pebble. Everyone loves playing pirates and searching for treasure. Meanwhile, back at the pirate ship, Pedro starts to feel sleepy. He takes off his glasses and falls asleep against a tree trunk. Boo! Cry the pirates, creeping up on Pedro and waking him up. Oh! Gasped Pedro, surprised. Sorry, I fell asleep. We've got treasure to put in the treasure chest, says Peppa, showing Pedro. Everyone puts their treasure on the ground. Pedro guards the ship again, while the rest of the pirates head off to find a place to bury the treasure. Over a hill and round a little bush they go. Hurrah! Let's bury it here, cheers Danny. Freddy digs a hole. Danny puts the treasure chest inside and covers it with soil. How will we know where we've buried it? Asked Susie. Let's make a treasure map, says Peppa. Peppa draws a treasure map.
Wow.
Over the hill, round the little bush, and X marks the spot. Danny draws an X on the ground to mark where the treasure is buried, and the pirates head back to their ship. When they get back, Mummy Pony arrives to collect Pedro. Stop! Shouts Pedro guarding the ship. Who goes there? I'm your mummy, says Mummy Pony. Where are your glasses, Pedro? Oh no, says Pedro. I think I put them in the buried treasure chest. We can find them with our treasure map, cheers Peppa. Mummy Pony uses Peppa's map to find the buried treasure. Over the hill, round the little bush, and X marks the spot, says Peppa. Peppa's map leads them straight to the treasure. After Freddy digs it up, Pedro looks at it very closely. My glasses, he cries. Hooray! Everyone cheers. Treasure maps are very useful, says Peppa. Especially for finding glasses if you accidentally bury them, adds Pedro. Everyone laughs. The end. Peppa the Pirate. Peppa and her friends are at Danny Dog's house. They are playing pirates. Yo ho ho, shouts Pirate Peppa. Hello, says Pedro Pony. Yee-haw! Peppa smiles. Pedro has come dressed as a cowboy. Grandad Dog arrives. He is in charge of the pirates today. Ahoy there, me hearties, he shouts. If you want to play a game, say Arr! Arr! Say the children. Grandad Dog claps his hands. It's time for a pirate treasure hunt. Grandpa Pig has taken my treasure, says Grandad Dog. Will you help me get it back again? Yes, shout Peppa and her friends.
Hooray!
The pirates are on their way. To win the game, they must go to Grandpa Pig's hideout and get the golden treasure without being caught. The pirates run down to Grandad Dog's boat. They put on their life jackets and climb aboard. Anchors away! Shouts Grandad Dog. Full sail! Aye, aye! Reply Peppa and her friends. The pirates sail across the water to Grandpa Pig's orchard.
Wow!
Land ahoy! Cries Grandad Dog. The mummies are waiting to greet them. Hooray for pirates! Cheers Mrs. Dog. Shh, mummy, whispers Danny. Grandpa Pig will hear you. The pirates sneak into the orchard. They stay very, very quiet. I hope there are no pirates around here, says Grandpa Pig, trying to take my lovely treasure. Danny tries not to giggle. Peppa and Susie Sheep tiptoe up to some treasure. They get it down without being caught. Susie unwraps the first golden coin. It's made of chocolate, she gasps. Yum, says Peppa. Peppa and her friends get all the chocolate coins without being caught.
Hooray!
Well done, shipmates, says Grandad Dog. I love playing pirates, says Peppa. Arr! Oh, jolly pirates are we, that sail the deep blue sea, to find the golden treasure, we'll say ahoy yippee. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.